What's happening, people? Welcome to the United Stand. I'm here with John Bradley, aka the Maester, aka Samuel Tarley from the Smash It TV show, Game of Thrones. How you doing, man?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, lovely to talk to you. How's things?
You know what? Better now, Ollie's at the wheel. Do you know what? I have to say, this is kind of like a little landmark for me because the first time I ever spoke to you was the first day I started doing this kind of work.
Oh, yeah?
Literally, that was my first interview with yourself that day.
Nice.
And it was a long time ago. It feels like ages ago. We just beat Crystal Palace 4-0.
Yeah.
And we was talking about Lukaku and if he's the man and such and such. But we'll go into that. Look, we've got Liverpool coming up, so we're not going to talk too much about it because we would have won by the time this video comes out. That's going to come back to bite me in the arse. But listen, how are you feeling right now as a Manchester United fan with what we've gone through? Not even just since Fergie's gone, but with the whole Mourinho situation, how it went, then he's left, now Ollie's in. How are you feeling?
Feeling optimistic at the moment. I think that since Fergie left, it's been a long time. It's been nearly 6 years, and it's felt that there's been a separation from what the fans want from this club. I think that there's just been a bit of a disconnect, and I think fans have felt that they've lost something of the spirit and DNA of the club. The way, not just the way football's played, but just the feeling around the place. It's a big ground, but it's not felt like an intimidating ground for kind of travelling fans. And I think now that we've got Ollie, who's such a connection back to those, just 99 in general, he's always going to be a legend because of that, but he's such a connection back to everything that all these fans love about the club and love about that golden era. And this place is an intimidating place to come again. And it's not just that. He seems relaxed. I was in training a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, what was it like in there? What's the mood in the camp? I know we can see it from the outside.
Yeah.
It's all smiles and obviously it's reflected in the performances. But you always wonder what it's like really. You spent time with the players.
Yeah.
I've seen your pictures with them and stuff, and you get to go in there. What's the mood in the camp like?
It's very, very positive. It's really positive, and I think what you get is that kind of attitude and that kind of atmosphere just comes from the top all the way down. I think if your manager's looking stressed or if your manager's not looking confident, that's going to dribble down and the whole squad, the whole staff's going to be affected. I think because Ollie seems like such a calming influence, he seemed completely in control. That's going to affect everybody associated with the club, fans as well. If you see your manager smiling, as he seems to be smiling all the time.
All the time, yeah.
It's going to create a sense of positivity amongst the fans and amongst the players. So I think his kind of spirit is infectious.
Do you think, there was loads made when Ollie come in on the run that we're on. Anyone could have done that. Oh, it was so bad under Jose that any, me or you could have taken over the reins and just let these players play. Has it been that simple? Does he deserve a lot more respect than that?
I think he deserves a lot more respect than that because I think not anybody could have done it because this generation of players, when they were growing up, when they were playing football and they were starting to play football, they would have seen Ollie as a hero. And I think that when you have somebody that you look up to so much, somebody who's been in your position playing football at this high level relatively recently, I think that's inspirational. And I think he's in a great position to get the very best out of players like Marcus Rashford, who's at kind of a crossroads of a career now, and a crossroads of he's done amazingly well so far, but now he's going to a stage where he's not just a young kid.
Does he kick onto that next level?
Not just a young kid who does surprisingly well under pressure and keeps pulling results out the bag, if he is going to be an all-time great now. And he's in a great position to do it, but I think that having Ollie around, having Ollie to learn from, not just a technical level, but just also how to deal with the pressure of it all, to deal with the pressure of being the man that Manchester United rely on for results.
Does he get this job now? Already, today? Already?
I think he's done enough to sincerely put himself in the running for it. But I mean, we're still in the FA Cup. There's only really City to beat in the cup. And can you imagine getting to a cup final and beating City in a cup final?
It's written.
It should be, yeah. It should be, and we should feel confident about that. And the thing about City have had. There's probably going to be people, with something to say about this from the City side of things, but City have had an easy run in the cup.
They definitely have. I don't think anyone could disagree with that.
And I don't think that, if we go all the way, we'll probably have to play City at some point. And by that reckoning, I don't think we could have had a harder run to a cup final if we get there. So if we do it based on everything, then I think that it will be one of the most satisfying cup victories we've ever had, I think.
Everything's rosy at the minute and we're playing good football. if he does get the job, and you're looking forward, you know, we didn't invest in January, and you know, you could argue that we didn't really know who the manager was going to be. We're at a little bit of a crossroads. Why spend money, etc. Some people would argue, absolutely, we should have spent money, and it could have scuppered our top 4, you know, hopes. The fact that we didn't, that's a different argument. Going forward, in the summer, we had a bad summer last year in terms of recruitment. 3 players included, which is Lee Grant as well. Do you think, how far do you think we are off reaching the top again? If Ollie gets the job, what sort of changes would you like to see be made in the summer?
Well, I think that players are attracted to clubs where they feel that they're going to be supported and given a chance to express themselves, and top players want to come to a club that has the right atmosphere about it and the right spirit about it. I think it would have been hard to attract top players under Jose, just because all the reports that the spirit wasn't right, the atmosphere wasn't right about the place. So I think that this one, just because of what he's done, not only the run of results, but just the entire atmosphere around the place, the fact that the attacking ethos is back in there, the fact that we're playing entertaining football, and the fact that Ollie, you know, seems determined to give players chances and use them in the right way, and you know, trying his hard to get the best out of players. I think that makes this an attractive prospect as a club again. I think so.
Definitely, we had a big summer to come up. Just on Jose quickly, I mean, you spent a little bit of time around the squad. I think it was in America in the pre-season tour. Obviously, Jose was there. Was there some clear differences, you know, without going too deep into it, but just from your opinion, was there clear differences with the players and their attitudes, and even not even just the players, the kit man and the tea lady, and when you was in the camp in the summer, when Jose was there, to when you've been in it recently, was there a clear difference?
Well, that seems like a long time ago now. That was summer 17.
17, yeah.
So back then, it seemed like a completely different place. Again, everybody seemed fresh and everybody seemed positive. And of course, there was no international tournament that year, so everybody seemed fit and sharp and energised. And I remember just watching training out in America, just thinking, it seems to me like Jose has no worries about going into this season. And if you look at the way we started that season, we weren't playing like we had any worries either. We were just absolutely brushing teams aside. So I kind of didn't see what it was like when it turned slightly, when the atmosphere changed. But when I was around the team in 17, it felt more like it does now than how it became. And you know, it's not just about Ollie. It's about Mick Phelan as well. I think
how underrated is that appointment as well? That's just like the closest you can have to Sir Alex in the dressing room.
Exactly. And Mick's been at Sir Alex's side all the way through some of those big moments, and he knows what it's like to, because he played as well. He played under Sir Alex as well, so he's got the spirit of the club running all the way through his veins as well. And you know, if you believe what you read, Sir Alex is now having a slightly more active role in things as well, which is only gonna help. I mean, there was talk today of, before the Liverpool game, of Sir Alex being allowed to
do a pep talk and stuff like that. Vidic in there, couldn't talk to the players,
to speak to the players and stuff, and that's you know, the last couple of years it's been an interesting one, because if you take somebody like Jesse Lingard, I mean, the talk about a few years ago, Sir Alex said you've got to watch Jesse Lingard because he's going to blossom when he's in his mid-20s, and even if he doesn't look that promising in his late teens, just wait. And that's just how much Sir Alex knows about these players. That's just the insight that he's got, and the fact that he's been allowed to you know, show some of that insight, and the fact that he's been used by the club, it's only gonna mean big things, I think.
I really do hope so. Just on the players, you know, on our current squad, I know you know a lot of them, so you know, I understand if you want to stay away from certain things, but I'll ask you. It's all opinion. I mean, when I did speak to you, seems like ages ago now, it was very much centred around Lukaku. I think he just scored a brace. And I asked you the question, you know, do you think Rom's the man? Because there was talks of Zlatan coming back in the team at that time.
That's right.
He's gone on and he's out the pecking order at the minute. He receives quite a lot of stick from Man United fans. Some say he's not good enough. Some say there's flaws in his game that are not great for us, and we're not going to see the best of him, and he should go in the summer. Just on him, you know, he's second fiddle at the minute. Do you still think he's the man, because that's what you said at the time, or do you think it's kind of changed and his future might be in jeopardy?
Well, I can't really speak on his future being in jeopardy, but I think you need to be patient with not only Rom. I think you need to be patient with centre forwards in general, because so much of their game depends on service and kind of right place and right time. And sometimes, you can just be unlucky for a bit, and then if you have a kind of extended period of bad luck, your head goes down, your confidence goes. I think the centre forward more than anybody else has to rely on the rest of the team playing a certain way before they can be effective. So I just think you need to be a bit patient with Rom. I think he is still such a danger man that I'd stick with Rom.
Do you think he fits into this brand of football that we're playing now?
Probably not as well. Probably not as well, I'd say. He looks a little bit more adrift, and he looks a little bit more immobile, and probably not getting into the areas that you'd expect him to get in. But you've seen a couple of times this season that he doesn't necessarily have to be putting it in the back of the net to be effective. Sometimes he can drift out, and sometimes he can put a ball in for somebody else. So I think if he is going to stay,
his crossing's probably been his best thing about this year.
Crossing's been his best thing, yeah. So I think if we can just utilise him in a slightly different way, slot him into the system a bit more effectively, then he's going to come up trumps for us again.
A lot made about Alexis Sanchez and his lack of form since he's come from Arsenal, obviously not hitting the heights. You worried that he could be surplus or might not find his best form? I mean, we look back on it in a few years and think, remember when we bought Sanchez and it just didn't work? Do you worry that could happen, or again, do you think there's a player in there?
I do worry about that, and he's one of those players where you think that every game is going to be a turning point. You know what I mean?
It just doesn't quite come, does it?
And if you take games like the Liverpool game, any players that are kind of on the fringes, or any players that the fans feel you haven't got the best out of them yet, they should be looking at these games and thinking, these are the types of games where if I do something memorable, I'll get the fans back on side. You don't even have to do... I mean, if you look at the great moments of careers, you look at Forlan, you look at Martial in that amazing first game when he scored that goal against Liverpool, you look at the overhead kick that Berb scored. Players can come and go, but if you do something spectacular in big games, or even if you affect a game in a certain way, if you put a good shift in a big game like this, then that should be all the opportunity and all the kind of incentive you need to really turn up. And as Ollie said after PSG, if players aren't doing that, and if players aren't showing that determination, that passion, that desire to turn up and prove themselves, then there's not much you can do really. But they should be looking at games like this, and even games like Chelsea in the cup, and if we go further and further in the cup finals and cup semi-finals, you should, as a player, you should just not be able to wait for those opportunities to come around to prove yourself. And the more come and go without that happening, the more fans lose confidence. But I think if he turns up big style for us today, all is forgiven.
That's true. We are fickle as football fans, isn't it? They could have a terrible run and then they do that one thing. It's like when he played against Arsenal. Yeah. It's like he's had a terrible time, tough time, scored against them, and you're thinking, right, this is it. Then he kind of fell off the ball a bit. But like you said, hopefully we do it. Listen, thank you for joining us on United Stand. We spoke just off camera, before we started, about the importance of fan channels and giving opinions. Is that sort of thing you like, having fan channels and fans being able to voice their opinions and things like that? Yeah,
I think it's so important. It's just so important for fans that you get to share the good times and the bad times. I think that if you connect with real fans and their real opinions and their real attitudes, it makes the good times better and the bad times better. Yeah. And it's like it's when we've got results that aren't perhaps what we were expecting, or we performed not as we should be, that's when I seek out fan channels, because I like to feel connected, and I like to feel that the frustration or the disappointment sometimes that's shared, and it's not put through a filter of media. It's a much more immediate experience. And I think, especially as you were saying yourself, for fans of United all around the world, we've got fans in every country of the world who can't always be here.
Exactly. I mean, we're lucky enough to come to this pretty much week in, week out. I know you're a season ticket holder yourself, local lad, and we're lucky enough to come in. That's what it's about, isn't it? Bringing people from even further afield who will probably never get the chance to come here and show them what it's really like.
Yeah, just get the feeling of what it's like on the ground, because the media, mainstream empire of media rules football now, and everything's put through that filter, and everything's put through with an agenda sometimes. But I think if you get this, you just get real fans saying what they really feel, and that's important, and it should carry on.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Cheers. And look, he subscribes, he watches it, so you've seen it here. The Maester watches the United Stand. You've seen it here. Listen, just last thing, cannot go without talking about Game of Thrones very quickly. The last season is imminent. It's nearly upon us. I've seen the trailer. I'm excited. Are you pumped for it to come out and for everyone to see it?
Yeah, we just can't wait for people to see it now. It was a long time ago. We finished shooting last summer, so it's the kind of editing process and the post-production process has been a long time, and we can't wait for people to see it. But also, we can't wait to see it. It seems like so long ago, and also when we're shooting it on the day, we don't have the visual effects.
I mean, it's crazy. You do a lot with green screen just behind you. Mark knows a lot about green screen.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you do so much,
Yeah.
you know, with it, without dragons running around you and fire and smoke. And
Exactly.
Is that weird? Is that weird, like, trying to, you know, act to the best of your ability with you haven't got the real stuff behind you?
Yeah, you kind of get used to it after a while. It's a bit of an alienating experience
Yeah.
at first, but I think that I've got to realise now that no matter how much I try and second guess what's going to be behind me, second guess what's going to be on that screen, when it's put in the hands of our crew and our heads of department and our whole team, the whole army of people that come together to make this show, they're always going to do something bigger and better than I could ever possibly imagine.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the problems that the show's had so far is how does it top itself?
How do you surpass it? Yeah,
How does it top itself?
I don't know how. Yeah,
How does it top itself every year, and especially going into the last season, because you don't want to be one of those shows that's great all the way along and then lets people down, because it can tarnish the entire reputation of the show that's been before it. But I think that it's going to be an ending that fans are very, very satisfied with. We're very satisfied with it as a cast and a crew. And yeah, we just can't wait for people to see it and let the speculation.
Jon Snow better end up as the king, you know. He better end up like he better have conquered all. That's all I'm saying. I do love Daenerys, very much so. But Jon Snow, come on. I know you can't give anything away, but listen, thank you so much for talking to us.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll speak again soon. We'll keep in contact,
Yeah, I
and
love
thank you
that.
so much for sharing your thoughts with us today.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Cheers. Big respect to all you guys for watching that video, and make sure you check out more United Stand content here and here. Yeah, like, subscribe, and share. And the socials are along the bottom. You know what to do. Go get following. Go, 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 go.